I think it's the first SocialFi game of this kind to come out on Twitter.
Ash, thanks for hopping on today.
Yeah, man. Thank you for inviting me on.
Well, before we get into what you've built most recently, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and what brought you to Hedera?
Yeah, so I joined Hedera actually December 1st of 2021, believe it or not. So I think that was the end of the past bull cycle. But I have been in the crypto space for a very long time, even way back, participated in an Ethereum crowd sale. So a long time ago, I'm an old man when it comes to crypto. I've been at one other layer one with EOS and Block One before I came to Hedera. But what really attracted me was governance in other ecosystems was always very difficult, and it was governance led by token holders. And I saw just a lack of participation of token holders, and it's very difficult to get governance passed. And so I was very attracted to the governance structure of Hedera. It reminded me of the governance structure, if you recall, the Libra project by Facebook, which was also modeled after the Visa governance structure. And so I thought that, this is definitely worth spending some time in. So yeah, I came over here and joined, and immediately was asked to start running with NFTs. If you guys can all remember, back in 2021, NFTs were all the rage. So I started working with May from Hashpack and community members, and helped create HIP 412, our ecosystem's metadata standards. Back then was one of the first things that I did when joining. And many of you will know me by mitbar.xyz, the first permissionless NFT mentor app for retail on Hedera. But yeah, we can get into anything, but I've been around the block.
Sure. Now, I mean, there's some debate. I've heard that Libra might have gotten some inspiration, we'll call it, from Hedera itself. So
They may have.
it's an interesting path to get to Hedera. So now we're going to talk a little bit about why we're actually here today, and that's your latest project. Can you explain HBAR and why you created it?
Yeah, thanks. So part of my responsibility and role at what was Hedera, then was Swirls Labs, and now is Hashgraph, is to focus on consumer engagement. Since the market has shifted a bit regarding NFTs, and we started to shift some of my focus internally at Hashgraph to look at how companies, both Web2 and Web3 companies, were using tokens, not just NFTs, but fungible tokens as well, to try to create community engagement. And so I've spoken to a bunch of different teams for the past year, and many of them Web2 teams, and they just didn't, a lot of them just didn't seem to get it, because Web3 tokens within a walled Web2 garden just don't work at nearly as well. They don't have nearly the same value that if you don't have that walled garden, right? And so earlier this year, I was excited about the base launch, and I saw a project called DGen, and where what we call barking, they call tipping, right? And it ran on Warpcast, the decentralized social media platform. Warpcast, Farcaster's the protocol. And I was really, really impressed about how it created an aligned incentive structure for people to engage on the platform. And you would see people tipping, barking for all sorts of things. Somebody releases an awesome NFT project. Somebody releases a new feature for their DApp that was in demand. Somebody was having a down day. Somebody was having an up day. It was so much fun that I wanted to bring it to Hedera. And the vibes have been, a little bit on the low in our ecosystem lately. And I was like, this is a perfect time to launch something like this. And we finally, after about 3.5, 4 months of ideation, getting the art, the designs, thinking through the tokenomics and how to marry Web3 HTS tokens with Web2 tokens so that we could play this game on Twitter rather than Warpcast. I love Warpcast, but for me, if we want to go where the Hedera user is, we want to go to Twitter. That's where our community hangs out mostly. So yeah, I'm very proud to have brought this to Hedera, but also to Twitter. And I think it's the first SocialFi game of this kind to come out on Twitter. So
Well, what I like is, I mean, it's a completely new space that really didn't even think of when it came to Hedera. We have the mouth doing something kind of in the same space,
yep.
and then we have now what's happening with HBAR and so forth. But just to explain exactly how people can get involved and how they can use it, can you just explain those steps of how somebody that wants to use HBAR, how they could do that?
Yeah, thank you. So HBARC is our utility token on Hedera. And by holding HBARC, you earn Bark Power, which is a Web 2 token. You earn Bark Power every 24 hours. When you log into our website with your Hedera account, you'll see how much Bark Power you have. And this is not linear relationship between how much HBARC you have, but we've got an algorithm in the background that's figuring out based on how much HBARC token you have, that's how much Bark Power you earn every day. Where you use your Bark Power, once you link your Hedera account and your Twitter account, you use your Bark Power to bark for anyone on Twitter, inside or outside of the Hedera ecosystem. You'll spend down your Bark Power, again, just a Web 2 token, to call attention to reward whoever you want for whatever you want. And then once your Bark Power has been all used up, you come back at 8 o'clock Eastern and you get more Bark Power each day.
I got you. Now, how about the steps of how somebody actually goes and gets Bark in the first place? Where can they get it? Then how do they tie their Twitter account to the ecosystem to be able to participate?
Yeah. So you can go to SocialSwap. We launched a liquidity pool, and those tokens have been locked for since March, and they're locked through, I think like February next year or something. I'm fully doxxed on the project, and I work for Hashgraph, so this is not a rug. But you go to SocialSwap in the LP pool, and of course, just buy HBARC. And then you don't have to lock it up. You don't have to stake it or anything. You can just leave it in your wallet, and our scripts are going to scrape, and see who own what accounts on HBARC, and we'll start allocating Bark Power for it. Now, you do have to link your Twitter, unlike Warpcast, which innately or natively has your account ID on the platform. Twitter obviously doesn't know about your Hedera account ID. So we have a little function on our website that sometimes is a little bit buggy, sometimes it works correctly, but remember, we're just in day 4 here. We're working through some bugs, but once you go to our website and log in with your Hedera wallet, you'll click the Verify Twitter button, and it's going to ask you to sign a little message that just says verifying for the barking game. This is so that we can tell who you are. This is no different than signing into OpenSea or signing into anywhere that requires you to sign an off-chain message. Once you do that, you'll get a very short tweet with a hashtag and an encrypted code. You just post it on your Twitter. And then we're always looking for that hashtag and seeing if that code matches someone that was on our website. And once you do that, it's linked, and you never have to link it again. And you can just continue to bark every day. And 8 o'clock, you get refilled.
All right, so first step is to go on SocialSwap, buy some of the HBARC token, and then you can go and link that account on the HBARC website, and then you'll go ahead and tap to connect to Twitter, which just gives you a message. It may automatically open you up on Twitter. You might copy that message, put it on Twitter, and then you just post it, and you're pretty much all set, right? That's
it. That's all you got to do. And the best thing is you never have to send anyone your HBARC tokens. So when you bark for someone, this is the most important part. When you bark for someone, you're not transferring, you're not signing a message. You don't have to send them any of your HBARC tokens. You're just telling our game who to issue tokens to and how many tokens to issue them so that they're available for that person to claim when the season ends, when season 1 ends, right? So you don't have to come off of anything. You're earning the right, the permission to tell our barking engine who and how much to allocate during each season. Then when the claim window opens at the end of each season, that person will be able to come in and claim those HBARC tokens.
And you're just doing that with replies. So you see something out there, a post that you think is worth giving a bark to, you just put 1,000 HBARC or $sign HBARC, and then you're all set. That's it.
That's it. That's all you got to do. Yep, that's it.
All right, that's perfect. These are the kind of simple things that can become really innovative in the long term. But is there anything else you'd like to pass on before we let you go?
No, that's it. Just check out @thebarkinggame on Twitter.
All right, perfect. Well, Ash, we appreciate you hopping on today, and we appreciate you building this on Hedera.
Thank you, Brandon. My pleasure. See you guys.
I'm now posting these interviews of Hedera builders independently to my channel. The community, influencers, and media outlets are free to use this content to spread the word on what's being built on Hedera. Once they're all uploaded, you'll be able to go to my channel and search for whatever topic or team you're interested in to find more information. Or you'll be able to get the most recent Hedera news by watching the latest HBAR Weekly update. So check them out.